candidate Ashwani Jain, who is here with us tonight. So let's see if we can unmute. Hi, how are you?
Oh, good. How are you doing?
Good, good. So let's hear it. What's your Dem story?
All right. Well, thank you all so much. So my name is Ashwani Jain. I use he, him pronouns. And my Dem story really is all about the importance of diversity and inclusion. I'm a 31-year-old son of immigrants who's been lucky enough to beat cancer and go from a Make-A-Wish kid to a Make-A-Wish ambassador, go from a Title I elementary school to earn 2 bachelor's and 1 master's degree. I've been able to work in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors, as well as serve with President Obama and then Vice President Biden in their White House and also in 2 federal agencies. And since January of this year, I've been honored to be a candidate for Maryland governor. If elected next year, I would be Maryland's first governor of color and the nation's first millennial governor. And I bring this up to both highlight the perspective I would bring, but also to address concerns of some who may think this overly ambitious, eager millennial with a baby face should maybe wait my turn. But while a voice like mine has never been in the governor's office before, in a state that is not only younger and more diverse than it's ever been, but where more people want leaders who have similar lived experiences, I think voices like all of ours are growing and need to be represented, because decisions about us should not be made without us. And so with a completely vacant seat, I am running for governor because it's the most effective position to get money out of our politics, tackle issues in a comprehensive way, and ensure that every resident has a seat at the table. Now, this idea of inclusion started back when I was 13 years old and diagnosed with a type of cancer. During that time, I saw a world in which I may not get to leave the 4 walls of that hospital room, right? I saw kids sitting right next to me lose their battles while their parents went bankrupt with medical bills. I felt depressed and alone, and I found that many people were making decisions for me as opposed to making them with me. And so I thought, if I'm blessed enough to get a second chance at life, I was going to make it count. And luckily, I not only beat cancer, but I was able to go from survivor to advocate. And by getting involved in politics, I actually found opportunities to connect with others who had similar struggles, feel a sense of purpose, and also channel my pain into something positive. And that advocacy work has now led me to run for your governor, because I've learned that a successful governor is one who understands both how to create policy and also has the perspective to enforce policy in an equitable manner. Now, for almost 2 decades, I have advocated for policy at all levels of government and all across this great state, including leadership roles with both President Obama and then Vice President Biden. But more importantly, as a product of Maryland public schools, as a son of immigrants and small business owners, and as someone who has dealt with both physical and mental health issues, I understand the day-to-day struggles of many across this state. And that's why I'm running to accomplish 3 specific things. Number 1, it's get money out of politics and empower people, no matter who they are, where they're from, or even when they are from, to have a say in what the governor does. Number 2, to look at issues in a comprehensive way through my relief, recovery, reform agenda, which covers 15 topics and over 40 specific issues and ways to pay for everything. And then number 3, focus on my Maryland Now plan, which will eliminate the state income tax for 95% of Marylanders, and it creates the nation's very first guaranteed jobs program. I genuinely want to be your partner in the governor's office. You can learn more or join my more than 250 volunteers on the team by going to janeforgovernor.com. I'll also put it in the chat box, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions if we have the time.
Thank you so much. And yes, we wanted to allow a few moments for questions. I see you've put your contact information in the chat, so thank you for that. And a couple questions. I'm gonna looking over your many accomplishments, Biden and Obama, cancer advocate, and then you already have your platform set up, 1, 2, 3, tennis set, relief recovery, Maryland Now, jobs, and empowering. So my quick question to you is, talking about your notable accomplishments is pretty direct, and you've already covered your personal issues, but tell me what your favorite moment was in being a Democrat, because like, what makes you who you are as a Democrat?
Yeah, I think it's the idea of equality of opportunity for everyone, regardless of who they are, where they're from, or even when they're from, right? I think it's this idea that we as Democrats have a very expansive and large tent where we really try to, have inclusive policies. We really try to bring more people to the table. Now, sometimes what I've experienced is we fall short of that. Not only in the sense that we have, candidates for years who either run on issues without substance or specific details, or we have elected officials, again, for years, who don't look at issues in a comprehensive way, right? And don't understand that all these issues overlap and they need to be addressed in that kind of manner. And then also this idea of, just because you don't donate in high numbers or vote in high numbers, or because you're super young or super old, you don't have as much value or opportunities to bring to the table. I think sometimes I've experienced that, and I know people like me have experienced that even within our party. So we have a lot of great things going for us, but we have a lot more room for improvement. And that's one of the things I'm hoping to accomplish by running at the top of the ticket.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So timely that you would answer them that way. When you talk about room for improvement, I asked the other candidate the same thing. I'm going to ask you about uniting the party, like all of these different labels, et cetera, especially being that there are many young people that are coming to the table now. We're excited to have them. They have the energy, but talk to me about uniting the party, and what does public accountability mean to you for elected officials?
Yeah, I think public accountability, how we unite the party and how we also get Democrats to win, especially in Maryland, I think it really stems from how you are running your campaign for governor, for example, right? Because typically the way people run their campaigns is usually how they're going to govern, or at least it's a good indication for folks. And so that's what I'm really focused on, is how do I run my campaign? What are the details that I'm putting on the issues that I'm advocating for? And what is the operation that I'm pursuing to include more people in the process? And so, kind of specifics to that, I'm really trying my best to speak to this particular moment in time that we're in, where the demographics of our state have changed even in the last 3-4 years. I'm talking about leading on issues and not just running a campaign that's based on hope and inclusion, but also sharing an unprecedented level of details in my policy platform from day one of my campaign in January. And then really talk about this idea of how do we actually expand the electorate and excite the base, right? Every campaign always talks about that. But for me, so far, we have found that people are getting excited to join our team. Most campaigns for governor in Maryland historically have 100 to 150 volunteers. We already are at 250 with a 100% volunteer run operation, and with still me being someone who not a lot of people know yet. And so, having a year more to go, and actually already having younger people from every county in this state, rural areas, older folks, first-time voters already on the team and really getting a seat at the table in helping me make policies and develop outreach strategies is some of the ways that I'm just trying to do more than just talk the talk, but actually walk the walk.
Right. Okay. Very quickly from the chat, when you were walking with VP Biden, tell us about some of your responsibility then.
Absolutely. So one of the jobs I was the director of outreach for Vice President Biden's Cancer Moonshot Initiative. So that was the administration's efforts to help find cures for cancer. And President Obama actually gave that responsibility to Vice President Biden after Biden lost his own son to cancer. So I was the director of outreach for that program. I built coalitions with hundreds of patients, researchers, and medical professionals across this nation to help get Congress to pass what they called the 21st Century Cures Act in 2016. And in doing so, we actually gave the FDA, located in Maryland, more discretion in the kinds of studies required to evaluate new medical devices. And we provided about $4.8 billion over 10 years in additional funding to the NIH, which is one of our state's largest employers. So that was some of the details, but being able to go from a cancer survivor to then working with the president and vice president on helping find cures for cancer and help other people who are battling a chronic illness, I think was definitely a full circle moment for me.
Awesome. All right. And then on a personal note, looking at all your background, tell me about something, what's going on with the deck of cards? What's that behind you?
Yeah, absolutely. So on my website, janeforgovernor.com, my intro video is actually me doing a magic trick. So I do a lot of magic as a hobby. I started when I was getting my treatments for cancer, and there was a doctor. He took time out of his lunch break to perform some small card magic tricks for me and the other kids. It made us forget about cancer for that moment. And I said, okay, when I get healthy, one of the things and one of the ways I can give back is by performing some magic tricks. So I do that as a hobby. And then on my left are some of my past accomplishments, including meeting Denzel Washington as my as my Make-A-Wish itself. And then, it was a lot of great opportunities I've been fortunate to have.
Awesome. Well, Candidate Jane, thank you so much for joining us tonight. As we said, you have your information in the chat. So if you want to repeat your website for us,
absolutely. You can just go to janeforgovernor.com. You can find out more about my background, more about the details to my policies, as well as get a hold of me. And I would love to have a conversation with anyone. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.